Last night, we brought you part one of my interview with actor, writer, and director Alan Alda. For decades, Alda has been working with scientists, teaching them how to be better communicators. And now, he's sharing with all of us what he's learned about the fundamentals of true communication in his book, If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? My Adventures in the Art and Science of Relating and Communicating. In part two, Alda talks about empathy as the key to effective communication and how the cast of MASH used empathy to create chemistry on the set. He also gives us his take on our current highly charged political landscape. I began the second part of our conversation by asking Alda if he has his own technique for building greater empathy.
I wanted to see if I could develop something that I could do as a kind of a homework exercise, a sort of internal gymnasium where I could practice during the day. So I started going around. As I walked through Manhattan, I was trying to figure out what the people in the street were feeling as I passed them. You know, you look at their face, you see somebody's distracted and maybe upset about something. Mm-hmm. What are they worried about? And then I talked with a psychologist who heard me explain what I was trying to do, trying to increase my empathy by this exercise I was doing. And he said, you know, I'd like to study that. Huh. So he did a study, and he had a population of people that he tested for empathy with a standard test. Then he had them go out and report back every time they had an encounter where they tried to figure out
doing what you were doing.
Doing what I was doing. And at the end, they took the empathy test again, and the results showed that it's not a bad idea to try it. They improved.
Now, you were not only just looking at him and trying to figure it out, you were labeling him.
I was labeling, and that seemed to be very important. Yeah. It turned out that what his study showed was sometimes just noticing them, noticing the color of their hair, whether the woman is wearing earrings or what color clothes they have on, that seems to increase your empathy, at least for a while, as well. And the funny thing was, I was telling somebody who works with us, who teaches workshops, and she said, I was in a very high-pressure meeting with lawyers, and I was getting nervous, anxious, and I wasn't connecting with them. The conversation wasn't going that well. And she said, wait a minute. She sort of closed her eyes. She says, do I even know what color suit this person is wearing? Mm-hmm. And then she looked back at them and really took them in more, and things started to change. Oh. And she said the conversation went great after that. That's the kind of experience that I've had as I allow the other person in.
Now, you don't talk much about your history as an actor in this book, no. But you do tell the story about MASH and the cast of MASH, how that was uniquely conducive to empathy and true communication. How did you get there?
Yeah, people often ask me what made MASH work. The reason it worked is the basic point, the basic idea that we were playing out real people's lives, and we tried to tell the real stories. As silly as it sometimes became, it was still about life and death, and I think that's the main reason. But there was something about the playing that the actors did, the acting that we did, that was the result of a connection we had, and we got that connection through doing something similar to what we've been talking about, which was we didn't go to our dressing rooms between shots because they take an hour to light a shot. We most of the time sat in a circle in chairs and made fun of each other. And we just laughed. And if you laugh and laugh and laugh, when you're laughing together, you're not hostile with each other. Right. You're open up. You're vulnerable when you laugh. That's why a lot of people who want to be tough guys don't laugh. They don't crack a smile. Yeah. You know, they're more superior than this moment of openness and jocularity. You know.
Now you write in the book that writers can achieve empathy where they're readers.
Yeah, where there's nobody sitting in front of you.
Yes, how do you do that?
It's based on the idea that you can make a good estimate of what the person is thinking and feeling, depending on what you say to them first. You see, you write the first sentence, you're doing something to their brain with that first sentence. Where are they in their head? If you think about the fact that you are actually communicating with a live person when you write this, then you're a little less concerned with exactly how you want to say what you want to say, and you're more concerned with how what you have to say lands on the person who's going to read it. And it is important what you say, but how it lands can make it more effective. So I think I've found that when I think about the person at the other end of the lens, or at the other end of my keyboard, or just in the space between us at the other end of that space, if I think about them, how they're getting it, what they're going through, it makes something happen between us. We're more, and then you're better able to answer what I really have to say. You're not answering something, you're not answering defensively so much. I'm not defensive about what you might say to me. It's a more open conversation.
Alan, I think it's safe to say that in our lifetimes, this country has never been more divided.
Yeah.
And the unwillingness to even be open to communications. I mean, people are being shouted down at universities because we don't want to hear them.
Right.
How do we do a massive injection of empathy and communication skills in an environment like
Pretty
this?
hard. I don't know. I wouldn't be so arrogant as to say that this book I've written will fix the country.
Well, it'll fix the people who read it.
I must say that when tensions are tough, I don't think it's helped to take a defensive or aggressive attitude. I think really listening in a way that's kind of radical will damp down the tensions.
The book is, if I understood you, would I have this look on my face? And I can guarantee this for sure, that whoever reads it is going to be more empathetic and it's going to improve their communications.
So great. Yeah,
Alan,
I love it that you felt it changed you.
Hey,
That's so good.
Alan, thank you. It's been a thrill talking to you.
Thank you, Raphael.